you own your career is a true slogan. I believe that wholeheartedly. If you want to be a CEO and you have the mindset and you go after it, you can be that CEO. And so I would just say, write the plan, write the vision down, have supportive people in your corner, regardless if you want to hear what they have to say, good, bad, indifferent, and go after it. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, managers are not going to always tap you on the shoulder. Recruiters are not going to always reach out to you. You have to show that you are looking. You have to be proactive. You have to put something behind it. So, yeah, that's what I would tell them.
Welcome to Landed, Unscripted Career Stories, the podcast where you'll hear real, authentic career stories and journeys to help you land the job. My name is Jean Pu. I'm your host. I'm a talent acquisition consultant and career coach. In each episode, I'll bring on guests who have different industry experience to help inspire you, and we'll talk about the unfiltered truths to help you land the job. So let's get into this episode. Okay, welcome everyone to Landed Unscripted Career Stories. Today I have Whitney Forney here. I have her on our podcast today to really share her story. So I have followed Whitney on LinkedIn, and she is so authentic that when I kept seeing her pop up on my feed, her sharing very authentic areas of her life, promotions that she's gone through, everything has just been brilliant and thoughtful. I was like, she needs to be on the podcast because people need to hear more of your story. And selfishly, I wanted to hear more of your story. And so welcome today to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Look, I hear the applauses in the back.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's truly an honor. I always say, my goal is to just really leave a positive, lasting impression on anyone I come in contact with, and so I always strive to be very authentic. That's just who I am. So again, thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, I want to just kick us off. Can you just tell us a little bit about your background?
So I am a assistant vice president, but my role is a life event services consultant that falls under our global human resource department at Bank of America. And what I do currently is I support all of our employees that have medical accommodations that need assistance. I've been in that role for almost 2 years. And I know we're going to talk about my experience, but this would be my third role in 3 years at Bank of America.
That is incredible. Like, I feel like, especially at such a large company,
Yes.
it's hard to move up. Like, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of strategic work to make that happen. Did you see yourself 3 years ago? Did you see yourself in this position today?
I did not. I actually didn't even realize that this role was available.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about human resources, there are so many different avenues that you can go.
Yes.
I've been a recruiter, I've been a program manager before. And so helping on the medical side was not something that I thought about. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know about the role. It was more of you hear the term tap on the shoulder. And so
Yeah.
I've chosen to assist this department because they needed help when, our hiring slowed down. And I actually loved the work. I had the ability to decide whether or not I wanted to go back to a recruiter role or
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to stay, and I decided to stay.
I love that. Man, so when you got tapped on the shoulder, how did walk us through that whole entire process? Like what were you thinking?
Mhm.
All the things.
So for me, and I'll go ahead and give you a quick story.
Mm-hmm.
Been with Bank of America since July 18th of 2022. When I came in as a talent acquisition consultant, which is a recruiter. And so I did that for a little bit. And then there was a slight hiring freeze. And I'm one person where I can't sit still. I need to be doing some work. And
Yeah.
so I was very proactive about connecting with leaders in HR, connecting with peers across the board to see what I could do. And
Mhm.
so I had the opportunity to connect with one of our executives, and there was a position available on our community college team. And so I was
Mm.
able to transition over and help them. I did that for a little bit, and then there was a need from HR for us to send some people over, and it wasn't just two or three; it was a few of us, and so we were chosen to go over and assist with our medical accommodations team, and with that, the tap on the shoulder, I wasn't happy, but I wasn't sad. Um,
Mhm.
I'm always optimistic on, well, maybe there's a reason behind every next step. And I
Yeah.
saw that as it's a reason why I'm going to this department.
Mhm.
And my goal is whatever department, whatever role I'm in, I want to help whoever it is that I'm
Mhm.
assisting, serving, whatever my responsibilities and duties are. And so that's what I did. I said, I'm going to go. Even when I started with the bank, I said, I am going to leave my print. I am going
Mhm.
to go in and I'm going to apply myself and I'm going to do everything that's necessary. And so that is how I am where I am now.
I love that. I heard a lot of things as you were describing your experience. The first thing is you have like I can tell you have a clear personal brand on who you want to be, how you want to be remembered, how you're going to show up, and also your mindset of going an expectation like I'm here to help and I'm here to make a lasting and impact overall. And I feel like there's not a lot of people who just slow down and think about that. Like, have you, tell me, how did you kind of come up with your own personal brand and
That ooh, it started with bad experiences in the workplace.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I started so just a snippet.
mhm.
I am a first generation college grad. I went to Benedict College, which is a private HBCU in Columbia, South
Wow.
Carolina. And so at that time, I had an internship that Walmart, out of all the
Mhm.
stores, I'm like, Walmart, they want me, they want me. What am I gonna
Yeah.
and I respected my dean of business so much that
Mhm,
I decided to take it. And so
mhm.
after I graduated, I started with Walmart. I was there for almost 8 years. So that was the foundation of my career. I started as an assistant store manager. I had about 60 employees at
Wow.
21. So
Wow.
I was in store operations, working 12 hours a day, brand new. So
Yeah.
that was something totally different. Working the holidays, being away from the family. And so that really kind of showed me the type of work I did not want at an
Mhm,
early age. And
mhm.
so after I went through that, I transitioned to the corporate side of Walmart. We
Mhm.
have a shared service center here in Charlotte that opened up. And so I was one of the supervisors that were brought on, and we did accounts payable. And
Okay.
so we were supporting all of the Walmarts in the US. And I had a team about 15 to 20 associates. So I was in leadership for
Mhm.
8 years before I transitioned to an individual contributor role. And so from that position, my last role with Walmart was an HR supervisor. And something kind of went off in my head. I'm
Mhm.
very mindful of the goals that I set.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can put a date, time, year on it, and then sometimes you have to either scratch that and keep it moving, or you kind of readjust. And so ultimately, my goal was to only stay there for 5 years. And so
Mhm.
I knew that I was getting comfortable. I was getting a
Yeah.
little bit I didn't feel like I was growing at the rate that I desired to. And so I
Mhm.
made the decision to leave. One thing that I always proudly talk about is my faith. I believe faith in the workplace.
Mhm.
Ins and out. How I am at work is how I'm at home. Like
Yeah.
I'm the same person. And so anytime I left, I always prayed about it before
Mhm.
I moved. Um, that's just who I was, and so there were a few different things that um, helped me decide to leave. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing that the honest answer was mental health. It
Mm,
was,
yeah.
but during that time, I didn't feel comfortable sharing why I really left.
Mm-hmm.
And so, didn't have a job lined up. It came by surprise to my leaders that I was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was shocked. But I had to do what was best for me. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the light bulb of Whitney, you own your journey. This
Yeah.
is your career, not your manager, not your husband,
Mm-hmm.
your parents. This is your career. So whatever you choose to do, you can do it. And
Mm-hmm.
that is where that little flame on the inside really started to show because I knew I had the power to do it. And
Yeah.
so after that, it was different.
Yeah.
I left that job, and this was COVID.
Wow.
Literally, I left the job in December. COVID hit February.
Mm-hmm.
That literally was a shutdown. So I had to go into survivor mode. Went
Mm-hmm.
a job at Amazon. I was a customer service associate. So I was shopping in the stores. I
Yeah.
said, you know what? I've never done this, but I'm gonna do it with excellence. I said
Yeah.
they're gonna know that whoever this is, she takes pride in her job. This
Yes.
despite the title, the pay, she's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I humbly did that job. I worked 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. I chose my schedule
Mm-hmm.
and I really just took that time to really think about what was the next step. And so always, and I'm trying to speed it up, but I
Yeah.
always wanted to be in HR.
Mm-hmm.
So, wanted to be a recruiter, started looking on LinkedIn. That's when I really started to be intentional about my presence on LinkedIn. I
Mm-hmm.
started a job seeker spotlight before they had the open to work banner. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was literally, I just said, hey, if you are looking for a job, it doesn't matter where, please let me know, send me your resume, and I will post it to my profile so that you can get a greater reach. And I had quite a few people reach out to me, and that really just it gave me a sense of fulfillment because while I was looking for a job, I was also helping others look for a role.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm gonna pause there because I know we have more questions,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's incredible because I can relate to that so
Hmm.
much. I went through a role where I was at a company, Aerotech, for 10 years, and it got really toxic. Um,
Hmm.
and I took a demotion, and I remember telling God, I'm like, whoever I talk to,
Hmm.
made it here, they're going to have the best experience for me. And I think in those quiet moments when you're kind of tested, that's
Hmm.
where God does his greatest work, I think,
Yes.
internally. And then
Yep.
also, like, God says, I'll, take what the locusts have stolen from you.
Yep.
And you have to just have some faith in that moment to know, like, okay, I don't know why I'm going through this, but God's got my back at the end of the day. Like,
Yes.
everything will come, you know, like
At the right
tenfold
time.
at the right time,
Yes.
And how amazing is, like, you sowed so many good seeds to say, okay, hey, if you're looking for a job, I will post it so that
Hmm.
no wonder, like, there's no wonder why you're, assistant vice president currently at one of the largest companies in the world. So that's incredible. That is
Thank
incredible.
you.
Ah,
Thank you so much.
yeah. So I had like, from that, um, so when you took that kind of step back, because I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of people right now, especially with the job market, how it is, like,
Hmm.
what was going through your headspace when you were thinking about, hey, I went from leading 60 people and then leading 15 people, transitioning, like, even moving up at Walmart. Walmart's a huge company.
Hmm.
And if you've never worked for a large company, you don't understand how complex that can be in making those moves. So,
Right.
what was your mindset when taking that kind of step back? Because I feel like your ego kind of gets hurt a little bit. You're like, what am I doing?
Yes, it was very scary.
Mhm.
I remember talking to my dad.
Yeah.
He's resting, and
Mhm.
I think about this so often. Every time I decided or wanted to move to a different position or a different company, he never understood it. He was like,
Mm.
"Well, why are you doing that?" But even while I was doing that, he was building his own faith
Mm.
because I said I was going to do something, and then the outcome was greater than what
Mm.
he anticipated. And so, it was just a time of reflection. I knew that there was more out there for me, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to settle. I knew what I wanted, and I knew what I did not want. I didn't
Mhm.
want to work long hours. I didn't want to be stressed. At that time, I was not married. I didn't have children, and
Mhm.
so I just knew this wasn't how I wanted my career to look
Mhm.
10, 15 years from now. And so I needed to quickly make an adjustment
Yeah.
while also ensuring that the coins
Yes.
match, because in this economy it's different, and you want
Mhm.
to make sure that what you are doing, you are getting paid for it. And
Yeah.
so I just really had to think about all those different things. And it wasn't easy. Like I said, it wasn't
Mhm.
easy taking that leap, but I've done that one, two, twice now. Um, and I can say if I did not, I always ask myself, what if I did not leave? Where would I be today in my career? And so I'm glad I took that leap back in 2019.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I think, man,
Yep, 2019. Mm-hmm.
man, it feels 2019 feels like it was yesterday. But
That's
it's
why I was
like,
like, wait, it's been that long?
yes, yes, that's crazy. So,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you give to someone right now in 2025 if they're looking to make an epic career move? Maybe, I don't know, they're going through layoff, or to your point, have a similar experience. Their mental health is suffering where they're at. Like, what would you tell someone?
Whew. Pause first,
Mhm.
pause, pray, meditate, whatever way that you get a clear mind before you start to write the goals and dreams and visions that you have. Have someone that you can consult, whether it be a friend, therapist, partner, to get their advice, but also stand firm on what it is that you desire.
Mhm.
Um, the slogan, "You own your career," is a
Mhm.
true slogan. I believe that wholeheartedly. If you want to be a CEO and you have the mindset and you go after it, you can be that CEO. And so I would just say, write the plan, write the vision down, have supportive people in your corner, regardless if you want to hear what they have to say,
Mhm.
good, bad, or indifferent, um, and go after it. Because at the end of the day, managers are not going to always tap you on the shoulder. Recruiters are not going to always reach out to you. You have to show that you are looking. You have to be proactive. You have to put something behind it. So, yeah, that's what I would tell them.
Yes. Ah, I love that. And how would you navigate, like you said, your dad wasn't sure about why you're making the moves that you're making. So how do you kind of how do you process from constructive feedback and then also understanding what you want at the end of the day and like knowing what decision to make?
Yep. So when I did the very first one, I talked to him and
Hmm.
my mom about it all the time. And they're old school. So
Yeah.
it's like you stay at one company for 20, 30 years and you're
Mhm.
good. Say, well, hey, listen, respectfully,
Yeah.
I am a millennial. And so
Yes.
we like to feel fulfilled. Like we
Hmm.
want to be in a purpose driven type
Yeah.
role where we know that we are pouring out whatever that work is. And
Hmm.
so we were having those conversations. I listened. He was saying, "Well, you got the stability. You
Hmm.
have the pay.
Hmm.
Why now? Why do you want to do it?" And I said, "Hey, I hear you. I understand, but wholeheartedly in my heart, this is what I need to do." And I always think about what if I did not do it?
Hmm.
Because with every journey, there are people connected to it. So
Yeah.
imagine the people that have been connected to me throughout these years that
Mhm.
I may not have impacted. It's not always about me. And I always say that it's not about me. It's about how
Mhm.
I can someone else. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm in a season where I am trying to find my way in my career as a new
Mhm.
mom.
Yeah.
Um it looks different. It definitely looks
Mhm.
different. So
Mhm. Again, congrats on motherhood. It is I might shift to that because I as a new mom myself, it's like you can't run as hard as you used to. It's like your baby will say, "No, mom, it's we need to
yes.
pause." So,
Yes.
how are you adjusting? Like, what are some things that you're doing now?
Whew, man, I tell you, I'm going, literally. I feel like I haven't really processed that I am a mom, that I
Yeah.
have a human being that I am
Mhm.
responsible for right now. And so I think it's just really been focusing so much on her.
Mhm.
I got the advice today of you have to take care of yourself first in order to take care of everyone else. And so
Mhm.
that has been a challenge. Really trying to find ways to lift myself up. And so some of those ways is LinkedIn. I go on there and I post to encourage others.
Mhm.
And then TikTok. I love
Mhm.
my encouragement. If you go to any platform, all you see
Yeah.
is encouragement.
Yeah.
No matter the platform. And that is just who I've been since I can remember.
Mm.
Um, so I am trying my best to adapt to the newborn trenches while also being okay with this new version of myself because I don't know her yet. And I'm excited to get to know her. And it's okay to say goodbye to the old version of yourself. And that's one thing that I'm learning to do is to not compare myself of how I was before, but know that that was a different chapter. And now I am in a new chapter, a new layer, a new hat that I wear. But also make sure that I stay true to myself, even while I maneuver as a mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think people don't talk enough about grieving that old chapter
Hmm.
and thought just whoever is thinking about being a mom, do what you
Hmm.
want to do before you have your child so that you can almost say, okay, this chapter's done and I did everything I wanted to do and here's my new chapter.
Yes, absolutely. Because I tell you, I feel like I did a whole lot before I had her. I consider it being, later. I think when I was in high school, people were having kids a little bit younger versus now you see women having kids in late 30s, 40s, 50s now. And so that's very common. But it's new, and I would love to hear more corporate women, professional women talk about it because that is something that you don't hear quite often on
Mhm.
how to maneuver being a working woman, a working parent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am on that road now.
Yeah. It's like you want to be there for everyone, but sometimes you can't. And that delegation is so key.
Absolutely.
And you maybe can't it's different. I feel like if you're depending on, your mom, you're nursing, you're not nursing, there's a lot that goes into that. And
Hmm.
in that first year, your baby and even the first 4 months, your baby still feels like they're connected to you. So there's that
Absolutely.
a level of, like your partner may not be able to step in. And so you're the one being that person. So I think that's mentally too can be a
Yes,
bit exhausting and challenging.
absolutely. Like real time right now, she is literally calling for mama. I hear
You probably heard my baby
her.
walk through the door.
It's okay because I'm like, she knows mommy is here, but where is she?
Yes, 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 yes. You're like,
Absolutely.
I am coming. I just need a breath. Just one
Yep.
second. I love you. But yeah.
Yes.
Oh man. So
I'm
I
glad
love
you understand.
I'm glad you said that because we need to talk about that more. And it is like you not like
I don't want to say like your work fully suffers, but like it takes a huge mental lift to be like, okay, I'm back at work. This is what I need to do. Or adjusting your goals to almost like you have faith it's going to happen, but at the same time, you got to almost like tailor your goals in the season of, I just need to make sure my child is safe.
Absolutely. And your values change. Like
Mm-hmm.
you of, okay, well, do I want to get promoted to a manager right now? Will my schedule handle the capacity of it? It's just a lot to think about.
Yep. Yep. I love that. I love
Wow.
that. Sorry, I had another question. I'm gonna make sure we're going here. So, so as far as doubt, I feel like some people have a lot of doubt. Kind of
Mhm.
even talking about motherhood, it's like you have that doubt. Can I do this? Can I still be this successful? Um, what would you tell someone to how to overcome that?
Whew. Recognize where it's coming from, number one.
Mhm.
So, um, I I'm grateful for my therapist.
Mhm.
It's a plug. Please get a therapist if you don't have one.
Yeah.
Um, like seriously, because it has been life changing for me. But recognizing your emotions and your moods, and so when you get to that place of feeling doubtful, okay,
Mhm.
where did it come from?
Yeah.
Why are we
Ooh.
feeling this way? And I think a lot of times that's where I get. So if I feel a sense of doubt, I have to kind of step back for a second and say, okay, well, why am I feeling this way?
Mm.
And I have to check myself, like, Whitney, there's no reason
Mm.
you shouldn't, like, there should not be a reason you feel this way. So
Yeah.
I think really just reflecting on the why and
Mhm.
then action.
Mhm.
And sometimes you can correct it in 5 minutes, sometimes 50 minutes,
Yeah.
5 hours, 5 days. It depends on the situation, but having those honest conversations with yourself definitely helps. So,
I love that. So as a leader, how do you
mhm.
support your team in making epic career moves?
Woo, so listen, I don't have a team now.
Yeah.
I've had a team since 2019, but I miss
Mhm.
it. I do.
Yeah.
And when I was in leadership, I mean, you can there was one comment on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pull it up really quick. I just want to
Yeah.
read it because it really touched my heart in a way that I didn't think it was gonna touch my heart. You know how you make an impact, but then when you hear
Mhm.
it, it resonates differently. I'm gonna see if I can find it really quickly. Because it really just it was ooh, it hit me. I said, man, I didn't think I had that in me. Um, but the comment said, I am so happy for you, Whitney. The baby is beautiful. You deserve all the happiness and more. You were one of the most impactful supervisors I have ever had
Mm.
in lives at Bank of America. And I was like, man, this wasn't a young person.
Yeah.
This was a to me, this was a elder.
Yeah.
Not saying she was old, but the fact that you can say I've been one of your like most impactful
Yeah.
supervisors that you had, it kind of just resonated differently.
Yeah.
And I I think I learned my leadership skills based on the leaders I encountered and what I got and what I did not get. I had some good leaders and I had some bad leaders. Um, and so for me, anytime I had someone that reported under me, I wanted to support them no matter what. I've seen so many people that I've worked with that was my direct report that they have progressed in their career. And I still talk to some of them today, just giving advice. But it really starts with a relationship. You know, a lot of times they say work is work, personal is personal, but you have to really get to know a person in order to kind of make that impact. Because in the workplace, everyone has a wall. Your wall can be with bricks, it can be with cotton, whatever it is, but everyone has a wall up. And so as a leader, you want to have that open door where people can come to you and have honest conversations. Um, then they can look to you, they can look up to you, but they can look to you for guidance too. And that was one thing that I always stress. I believed in one-on-ones, so I had them early, telling them what they doing good at, what they needed to work on, and how they wanted to progress. Any
Hmm.
way I could help, regardless if they wanted to stay with the company or leave, I was helping. And so I think it's just taking the time to pour into people. And sometimes um some leaders get so caught up to where they forget that piece. Um and you have to think about it. Sometimes, you were in their shoes before and you needed a pick me up. You needed someone to lead and guide you. And so
Hmm.
um yeah, I miss leading.
Yeah.
But my pastor always tell me, he said, leadership is influence. And
Hmm.
so title doesn't make you a leader. I
Hmm.
believe I'm a leader in general.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I love that. Well, and to your point of your, old person who was on your team, not old, but like the person who was on your team, who's your
Mhm.
elder, like they've probably seen a lot of different leaders and have had different managers. And for
Right.
them to say you were the most impactful manager that, she's ever had, like that's incredible. And that shows just who you are.
And let me tell you, that was very intimidating when
Hmm.
I first started.
Yeah.
21,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
am like, I got direct reports that are older than me,
Yeah.
that are younger than me, and they're looking at me like, "You're my manager?" So, there was a time in my career where it was tough giving feedback to people that were older and younger than me.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. At
Mhm.
21, which they're probably like, I got grandbabies, I got kids your age. Like, what can you tell me that I don't know already?
Right.
So that
Yeah,
takes a lot to win their respect.
it did, and I think I did it. Like, I was
Mhm.
true to who I was. I knew when to laugh and play, but I
Yeah.
also understood business too. And that's where you really get people they that's where you get people excited to come to work. When
Hmm.
they know you about work, you about the business, but you also know how to build a team. You know how to have fun at the same time.
Yeah. Oh my
So,
gosh. That's awesome. That is
yeah.
amazing. Um, when if someone's like in a bad manager situation, what would you tell them right now?
Woo! If you have a challenging manager, pause. I always say pause
Yeah.
because I didn't use pause. I would just kind of I would just go off in my feelings, not towards the individual, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't take the time to like really just sit with myself.
Yeah.
I would say sit with yourself,
Yeah.
right? Um, identify if there is something you are actually doing.
Hmm.
Are you doing something, or is it something that your leader
Hmm.
is going?
Yeah.
Um, if you have a and you have to be mindful of who you talk to when
Hmm.
you're having time with your leader.
Hmm.
Um, I would say have a mentor first.
Mm.
Um, mentor could be someone within the company
Yeah.
that's at a higher level that may not be in your department,
Hmm.
or it could be a mentor that's outside the company. But I would say talk with your mentor first,
Hmm.
get some opinions, talk through what's going on
Hmm.
before you present yourself to your leader, or even because what you don't want to do is you don't want to cause conflict, but you
Yeah.
want to be able to have an honest conversation with your leader. So if it's me, hey, Susie, I would like to talk. There are some things that I'm going through right now.
Hmm.
Or if it's her, hey, Susie, are you okay? I noticed you've kind of, you haven't been yourself lately. Is there
Hmm.
something I can help with? So being able to not have a hard conversation where it's just intimidating, but
Hmm.
really just having a real conversation where you just want to check and see if everything's okay.
I love that. I love that. It's almost like I love the term assume good intent. So you're kind of like taking a second, but then also what you said about taking personal accountability. Like, is it
Yes.
you? Like, it's like am I the problem? And you might be the problem.
Right.
And it's okay because you can change that. But
That's,
understanding where's the issue stemming from. So
and I remember LinkedIn, they show it often. It's a quote that it talks about good employees don't leave the company, they leave the
yeah,
manager.
yes.
And I can attest to that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna leave it there.
Yes. Yes.
So, but
We've
yeah,
all
it's that's a lot of people dealing with that. And I think if companies kind of can figure out how to minimize that, that would decrease turnover because a
yeah.
lot of people will stay. So
Mm-hmm.
just say
Saves the company so much money too by having good people overall.
yes,
So
absolutely.
mm. So as far as the future goes, what have you thought about that? Are you are you how are you future proofing? What are you thinking about the future right now?
So I'm in a transition season. I feel like I have a lot of questions that I need to answer. Um, and when I think about the categories of life right now, my career is probably low priority to me right now. Um, because I don't know when the right time is. I know I want to do something different, but I want to stay in HR. I love I love HR because you're helping people in some way or fashion. So I absolutely love HR, but I'm just trying to figure out what avenue I would like to take. And so I've been using this time to really pause, look at my career, um, review my values. I enjoy a typical work schedule. I enjoy that. I enjoy my days off on the weekends. I enjoy my holidays. I enjoy I'm not going to say work life balance, but I enjoy balance. And so that's where I'm at, is really just trying to figure out how I'm going to end the year off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably 2026, I really want to hit the ground running and
Mm-hmm.
really figure out what this new norm looks like for me, because right now
Mm-hmm.
it looks so different.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm open to new opportunities
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to learning and growing.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Bank of America. Um, I don't intend on going nowhere. I I wholeheartedly enjoy the company. The slogan, "It's a great place to work," is not just a gimmick. It really is.
That's amazing.
And I will always say, I've tried since 2016 to join the company. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I had the opportunity, I say, I'm in here. I'm about to make this impact. And
Yeah.
so really just, yeah, I'm just in this transition season of figuring out what it is that I want to do, how I can make a new impact. And
I love that. And from one new mom to another, give yourself so much grace. Like double down on
yes,
the grace you give for yourself every single day
mhm.
because you'll figure it out.
I hope so. Because right now it's like, woo, but
Yeah.
I will. I will. I believe in myself.
Yes, yes, obviously, obviously. One thing you said, it sounds like Bank of America's culture is very rich. So can you tell me a little bit about that? I know we're going a little off,
Yeah.
but I love the
Hmm.
fact that you touched on that, and then also the fact you got tapped several times to make moves from recruitment into HR. Whereas I
Yep.
don't know if all companies would do that or give someone the opportunity like that. So I'd love to know a little bit more about the culture at Bank of America.
I would say so. First off, I am grateful that I've had great leaders since I've been there.
Mhm.
I've had a total of one, two. I've had at least four.
Mhm.
Man, but I have been fortunate. I've had great managers who support my career. I've always had honest conversations.
Mhm.
I don't believe in not saying, "Hey, yeah, I want more work," or
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'm looking forward to move." The company believes in internal mobility
Mhm.
wholeheartedly, and I am a witness to that because 3 years, three positions, and so I'm grateful for that
Mhm.
because I know that there's internal mobility, but also I feel like I can go to work and be myself.
Mm.
I am a I love so I'll use an example. I love sneakers or tennis shoes,
Mhm.
depending
Yeah.
on where you're from.
Yeah.
And I was very hesitant about wearing my sneakers in the office
Mhm.
because it's corporate and
Yeah.
everybody dresses differently. And so for the first, I would say first few months, I
Mhm.
would wear my typical grays, blacks, whites, blues. I'm a very vibrant person, so
Mhm.
anything I love orange, pinks, greens, purples. I love bright colors. And so I kept it like very toned down. I said,
Mhm.
okay, let me see how we're doing first.
Yes.
And I started to see that everybody had their own thing going on. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay. I saw a lot of people with sneakers on. There's one executive with the bank, and I'm not gonna miss her name, but I follow her wholeheartedly. African American woman,
Mhm.
her natural hair, and
Love.
she rock her sneakers with her
Yes.
blazers, her suits, and she is a role model to me in a way that she probably don't even know.
Mhm.
But she gave me that confidence to bring myself to work,
Mm.
and I felt good. I didn't feel like I had to put on that traditional corporate outfit
Yes.
because,
Yep.
and so, and people respect when you bring yourself to work.
Mhm.
And I think that's how it should be. I've
Mm.
never had a scenario where people have came up to me and said, "Oh, you should go home. You're out of
Yeah.
dress code or anything like that." But um, it's a great company. I've met some awesome people since I've been there.
Mhm.
I've had great opportunities in the time that I've been there.
Mhm.
And support is just different. I don't know. You, I don't know. It's just I've been fortunate.
Yeah.
I know everybody has a different story,
Yeah.
but it goes back to it's what you make it. I
Mhm.
had said that once I got with the company, I was gonna set my tone, and
Mhm.
that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do. I'm gonna continue to connect with people. I'm gonna continue to make an impact,
Mhm.
and that's who I am. So,
I love that. I think that one goes to show diversity in the workplace, especially on the
mhm,
executive level, help
absolutely.
others to show up authentically at work.
Mhm.
And then,
Yes.
of course, like there's studies about just growth within
Mhm.
diversity in an office, how companies
Yeah.
just grow. But being able to just show up authentically and you don't have to
Yes.
have this mask, that I feel like is
Right.
just unused, like wasted energy. If you're like, oh man, am I looking right? Am I, it's like,
Right.
no, I'm me and I'm just going to do great work.
Yes.
Mm,
That's it.
I love that. I love that. Okay, before we kind of close this, I love to
Mhm.
know what has been your breakthrough moment in your career.
Mm. I think when I took that first leap, um, like my first real job outside of school,
Hmm.
um, taking that leap to believe in myself and
Yeah.
say, if I know I deserve more, if I know I can do better, I can be in a different space, environment, go after it. I felt that sense of confirmation within myself that I could do it, and I always go back to what if I did not take that leap?
Mm-hmm.
Where would I be? Where would I be today mentally? Where would I be career wise? Where
Yeah.
would I be within my family? I think about all that because there were a lot of different things that took place in those 8 years that I learned and growth. And so I'm very fortunate for my experience because again, it is making me who
Hmm.
I am today. So
I love that. Well, thank you so much. I feel like I've
thank
learned so much from
you.
you.
Oh,
And I'm glad you agreed to just joining me on this podcast. I
absolutely.
took so many notes. I'm like, man, that is really good. Mindset, making those shifts. I feel like you invested in yourself by taking that leap of faith and that pay cut, not having a job at the end of the day, and then just reinvented honestly yourself and your career into that next chapter. So I'm hoping
Absolutely.
that this will encourage someone to do the same.
Yes, yes. One last thing I want to add. If you don't have a mentor, get a mentor. I did not have a mentor
Mhm.
until I came to Bank of America.
Wow.
If I had a mentor, I felt like I may have made some different decisions within
Yeah.
my career. So I highly encourage, no matter where you are in your career,
Hmm.
have a mentor, at least one,
Yeah.
um, because that support
Hmm.
is so helpful
Yeah.
in ways that I didn't think I would need. So I just want to leave with that. Find a mentor
I love
and
that. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
stick with them.
Oh my.
And if it don't work, because some
Hmm.
mentors and mentees, the relationship don't work.
Yeah.
If it don't work, it's okay.
Hmm.
Don't burn the bridge.
Yeah.
Still have that person as a connecting point because you I've attest to it. You
Hmm.
can meet someone and it'll be a full circle moment where you meet them again in a different position, or they may have
Hmm.
something open and they want to bring you over. And so,
That's huge. That's huge. And I feel like you can't be nervous. So did you ask your mentor? Like, did you ask them, hey, would you mentor me, or did they find you?
so many different ways. So with the bank, they offer quite a few mentorship programs. And
Mm.
so my first year, I was accepted into two mentorship programs. And then through our Black professional group, there was just some people that I genuinely, we just clicked from day one. And so I said, hey, I am one. Let me just say this. If I want to get to know you, I am going to put some time on your calendar. And so that is what I did. I call them my Let's Connects. And so typically I would, it's kind of like an interview for, not for me, but for them.
Mhm.
So I would literally meet with someone.
Mhm.
If it feels right, I would continue on, whether it's monthly, quarterly. If it did not feel right, I would keep their contact information
Mhm.
and reach out when necessary.
Mhm.
And so you have to do that, is because you're not, everyone is not for everyone, and that's okay. But find who's for you and who really um, wants to see you grow. So, and you want to see them grow because it's a two-way street with, being a mentor and a mentee. So,
That's good. Strategic
yeah,
mentorship. Select, yeah,
absolutely.
because to your point, I think you feel like you need to make them your mentor if you reached out, but it's almost like you gotta make sure it's organic and you can connect with them and it makes sense for you.
Yes, yes,
Man,
absolutely.
well, thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's been a joy. Like I want to kind of keep this conversation going, offline outside of the podcast because I really enjoyed everything that you've shared. And
Absolutely.
I've had so much fun just chatting with you.
Thank you. Me too. I love doing things like this. It brings my heart joy. So thank you for reaching out again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to Landed Unscripted Career Stories. I had a ton of fun interviewing Whitney. I was so excited when she agreed to come on the podcast and share her story because, like I had shared before, I've been so inspired by her LinkedIn post. And so meeting her in real time, in real life, was just a joy. So I hope you felt empowered to really follow your intuition or follow your gut in your career moves, and also to just do your work with excellence so that you can have those opportunities to take a leap of faith, to make a new move, or even get a promotion. I hope that really helped you. And if you're feeling stuck in your career, you're unsure what to do next, feel free to reach out to me. This podcast is sponsored by my company, Breakthrough Career Coaching, and I specialize in empowering people to make great career moves because I, one, understand how nerve-wracking it can be to not know what to do in that next season. And then two, I understand the recruitment process. I understand what companies look for, what hiring managers look for, because I've helped thousands of people find new jobs, or help companies really scale their organization. So I have the in-depth knowledge on what most hiring managers look for, and I'd love to share that knowledge with you. So thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this with a friend, and hopefully it will empower them and inspire them to make the right decision, or just to follow their intuition. So yeah, until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.